Okay, hello and welcome to Torsion's episode 1 political review of the latest Mordred Viking community multiplayer, Ambinar Fantasy Edition, if you will. So session 1 was today. I did participate just as a sub for Mindboy. Today would be the only session I'm available to play this season. So I also spent it in Shattered Crown, so didn't really see much of anything for the time that I was there. So this will all be new to me. There's a lot of folks playing in this MP. I think north of 35 players showed up today. A bunch of new names, which was great to see, but won't have time to do everything. So I'm going to break this into a couple of videos, I think. Today I'm just going to focus on the New World nations, of which I believe there's 2, and then the Empire. Uh, we'll do Garudia and the Empire. So plenty to unpack there. Um, we'll start with Malaknar. As we saw last season with Brother Zale, relatively powerful tag as they walk through their mission tree. There's these companion missions, which I assume he's got. Allied, I assume those are his companions. And then where are the cool tags that start, or the cool buffs that start kicking in? I know, yeah, here we go. Infantry combat ability. There we go. He gets all these permanent infantry combat ability modifiers as he walks through the mission tree. So looks like he's actually still got quite a bit of work to do to get through the mission tree. But knowing Darkfighter, he'll get it under wraps pretty soon. So yeah, you get a 10% boost here, and then I think you can... Yeah, then it becomes 15... 20... I think by the end of it you get... Oh, that's also pretty nice. Like, a lot of infantry combat ability, so... doing pretty well. He's at max manpower. He's not at war for some reason. I thought the Battle King was always supposed to be at war. From a tech perspective, looks like he's got a dev for colonialism. Yeah, it looks like he dev'd this one. Oh wow, there's some good land here from a terrain perspective. Lots of farmland, some urban, etc. So he dev'd this province, obviously. Iron, pretty good resource to do for Renaissance. Hasn't chosen an idea yet, but pretty much there on tech. So far so good. We got our good friends Dekakagon, the Greeks, if you will. Holy cow. He has expanded quite a bit. Oh yeah, look at that vassal swarm. Okay, so the Greeks are going to be huge. We've had a few players in this area previously. I think this is probably going to be the most powerful one to come out of this area. Only 1470. No one, Vanille, but no one else has started poking this direction yet. Yeah, that's going to be pretty powerful. Let's see where he's at. Oh, buddy. Accept some of these cultures. There's some economic bonuses there to bringing them into acceptance. Yeah. Not a huge deal, but something to keep an eye on. Economically, not too powerful, but I assume that'll change. Oh, he's got a lot of mercenaries because he's out of manpower in this war that he's in. But probably not a ton of wars left to fight, so it's not that big a deal. And consolidating quickly is probably ideal. Merchant guilds. Yeah, all this looks fine. Working through exploration. I'm not sure I agree with that. I think this idea mod still has... Ooh, magic ideas. It still has expansion. It's just mutually exclusive, right? Yeah. Expansion would probably be better for the Greeks. But to each their own. What else should we take a look at here? Their mission tree is also not huge, but they get a really strong formable. Um, well on their way to getting there, and then I believe it would open up a new mission tree. Not positive, but yeah. So keep an eye on the Greeks. I know there's a Jaharian Exemplars player coming at some point, but unless they're just gonna work very closely with Kagon and whatnot, it's gonna be very difficult for them. Let's pivot over to. We'll start up here in the north. Orb Troll. They have. So Irvixton did a quick tag switch right at the beginning of the game. I'm not really sure what shenanigans are going on here. For some reason, Irvixton's a vassal. It might be to combat Frozen Maw. Obviously, Frozen Maw is a relatively strong AI tag. So as force limit of 30 versus 8 and 16. So maybe they were worried that by themselves they wouldn't be able to take down Frozen Maw. So they came up with some sort of agreement here. I do also know that Irvixton's all about Black Castanor. So they'd be focused heavily south and don't really care about the stuff up here. That's probably what it is. I guess that makes sense to a degree. But I do know that Orb Troll gets their formable missions push them this direction. It also pushes them in Gowid and this way. So we'll see. Could be an interesting pairing. Pretty powerful tags if they're left alone for a little while. Negative stability, high corruption. You didn't go bankrupt, did you? No. Working their way through their mission tree. A little bit of debt, nothing too bad. I don't probably want to sell this. Don't want to keep your crown land high as a troll or as a horde. It's just free money. Their estates are fine for the most part. When possible, you want to seize land and get the +1 military power. This is a terrible privilege because it lowers your manpower. If you're looking to boost the clergy, I like the advisory council. Yeah, it increases stability cost, but drastically reduces the advisor cost. This one's free, 10 and 10. Yeah, I'd probably take a look at those before I took a look at this one. If you're looking to get the prestige, this one's a good one. Yeah, the patronage of the arts. Wow. What is going on here? Negative 100 prestige, 0 legitimacy. What type of government do we have? Yeah, okay. Yeah, not really sure what's going on there. From a tech perspective, a little bit behind. The trolls way behind, but that's to be expected. From an economic perspective, getting hammered. Yeah, not a ton of money up here. So they'll still need another session or two to consolidate this region. Where's that map? Yeah. To take care of Garudia. But if they can figure out a way to take down Frozen Maw relatively quickly before Frozen Maw stretches this way for all that free dev, yeah, that'd be best for them. So, the Empire. A lot going on here. Oh, BPEC's winning this war against Laurent. Good for them. Oh, relatively costly. Yowzers. You're in a decent amount of debt. Oh, God. You're in a decent amount of debt. Your war exhaustion's high. Jesus. Okay. A lot to unpack here. So Laurent is currently at war with Saloran, Necklif, Bpec, and Arborant. How did Arborant get involved? They're allied with Bpec. Saloran brought in Necklif. So these are two separate wars. I guess it's going to work out for them eventually, but looks like these are pretty costly wars that they're each fighting. Still a ton of manpower. I think Bpec's mercenary for the most part, though, right? Yeah, these look like all mercenaries. Saloran out of manpower. Arborand still has tons of manpower, but a little bit of debt. Yeah, they're not making a ton yet. Oh my god. All these countries are in rough shape. Tons of debt here. Losing more money. No manpower. Riveria is coming in to save the day. So we'll start with Riveria. The probably least... Oh my god. They're all hurting. So some of this is a state, which is fine. I don't know why you'd have one estate and then 6 or 7 bank. That's not ideal, but oh well. Estates look fine. That's pretty crazy to have 3% loyalty. Didn't know you could get it that low, but equilibrium is fine, so it'll bounce back. Also want exploration, which is understandable given the mission tree. Yeah, they're doing it, these crazy bastards. So they've switched their primary culture over to Cliff Gnome from Rivarian. So probably looking at a tag switch here at admin 7 to the Gnomish hierarchy. Gnomish military, have they switched yet? No, still human military. Gnome military is pretty good. Gnomish hierarchy's got a cool mission tree also. Jesus, accept some cultures, folks. Duran, decent from attack perspective. Well, tons of war exhaustion. War exhaustion is incredibly costly. It goes down relatively slowly, only 0.1 a month when you're at peace, and your goods produce modifier double your war exhaustion. So at 20 war exhaustion, minus 40% goods produced. So economically, it's pretty stifling. And only way to get rid of it faster is to burn Diplo, which they want to get exploration up and bringing that money in from the New World. So that'll be interesting to see. Looks like right now Duran and Riveria are on the outside looking in from an Empire alignment perspective. Bpec, Arboran, Saloran. Is Necklif a player? Yes, Necklif is a player. We'll see if Duran chooses to move on Laurent. I'm surprised Saloran has not tag switched yet. What's the requirement for that? Oh, they need Roselard. Okay, so they'll probably tag switch as soon as they wrap up this war, and then they get a pretty cool mission tree. BPEC, we know it, small country, incredibly rich, is in a dominant position in the Dame set early game. Expect them to do quite well so far. Arbrand's mission tree takes them into BPEC, but right now they appear to be allied, so we'll see what direction they choose to move. Let's see how they're doing. Yeah, good trade income. Right now they're spending a decent amount on their army, which can be taken care of. Their fort maintenance is really high. Their diplomatic expenses are high. Oh, Condot to Wax. But expect BPEC to bounce back. This isn't too terrible. I would just recommend... Oh, they don't have estates. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Bouncing back here. They've got vampires. They're in good shape. Probably grant some more privileges. You want your equilibriums above 60, ideally, so you're getting the most out of the positive benefits. Merchant Guild in particular, for the dev cost reduction. Nobility's got some good benefits as well. Let's see if anyone's got, yeah, land maintenance modifier. Yeah, look at that, 20% trade efficiency and 10% dev cost. That's really powerful. That's like 2 national ideas. Neckcliff, doing quite well. Pretty healthy expansion. Let's see, also going exploration. So we have 1, 2, 3 explorations so far. They went defensive. BPEC's going innovative, and they're going quality. Wex is going diplomatic. Vern's going offensive. Okay, so Neckcliff. Heavily Navy focused, conquering some islands, and then New World stuff. They are a little bit behind on tech, nothing terrible. Economy's doing pretty well. Their one rival, I would say, would be Vern. I know Vern gets claims on the Pearls Ledge area. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out. They're currently allied with Shigamber, who I do not believe is a player, and then Dame's Crown, who is also not a player. That'll be something to keep an eye on. And then we've got Wex and Kvaria are allied. Who else do we have in the Imperial areas? We've got Silverforge, no player ally as of yet. Arbran we touched on. Very powerful alliances here. If they're able to use Gowd to help them expanding into Ibavar or the Escani Adventurers, look for Arbran to be quite powerful, especially if they can get into Vertesk before BPEC. Then they can get a decent number of the centers of trade. 1, 2, 3 right here would probably be pretty easy for Arbran to grab and move them into a much more valuable trade node. And then, ooh, Torinin. So this is one of like the border states of the Empire. They're currently allied with Rayul. That'll be interesting to watch. And Shigamber. Economic ideas. So let's take a look at Vern. They're doing well. Let's take a look at Wex. Obviously the Emperor. Looks like they will continue to be the Emperor. Stalin is in a personal union. Got some claims on Ashenade. They've got a royal marriage. Oh, they're guaranteeing independence. And then they're also allied to Dane's Crown. Diplomatic, probably a good idea, especially if you're going for more of that role play feel. States look good. Arbran. You have an idea yet? Quality. Some income issues, but nothing too critical. Make sure you keep an eye on your Magisters before, on both sides actually, before you do tech. If they're too loyal, you get a penalty, and if they're disloyal, you also get a penalty to tech cost. So typically want to line that up with things like Seize Power to drop their loyalty, take your tech, and then sell Crown Lands to bring their loyalty back up, something like that. Kvaria is the last one we'll touch on in this video. Because of their alliance with Wex, it kind of makes them a little bit of a power broker. I didn't really look at army sizes too much. Let's do that real quick throughout this region. So 26 from Kvaria with 25k manpower, pretty high. Arbran right there. Wex obviously gets the Imperial bonus, so dominant power in this area. 29 from Vern. 14, so relatively small here. Tornin. Oh, Silverforge. 18. Having some income issues, but nothing too bad yet. going offensive ideas. Trying to start breaking into their missions, but haven't made a ton of progress. BPEC over their force limit, as we saw, but just for this war. Whoa, Soloran, way over their force limit. Neckliffe at theirs, but very small military. Duran and Riveria. Okay, so almost all the players' force limit, somewhere right around 20 to 30. Wex obviously is the outlier. And then Neckliffe's a little bit on the smaller side. Interesting region. As we take a look at the bigger picture, there's a gap from a player perspective, obviously, in Gowed and I believe this is called the Reach. Is that what it is? Yeah, the Hellenic Reach. So the players positioned with borders with Gowed, like an Orb Troll, obviously these two probably can't take advantage of it yet, but a Rivarian and Arboran, when you're allied with Gowed, like Duran and Arboran is, you can kind of use them as a hammer. So I don't know if this would work, but yeah, they won't do it right now because they have a truce. But you can do things like use Gowed to fight your wars for you, get them a little bit weaker, make yourself stronger, and then all of a sudden switch on them and everyone piles on. You're gonna run out of space for expansion for BPEC, Neckliff, Soloran, Duran in this area, and still have tons of room to expand up here. So that makes it important for a player like Arboran to consolidate here so that they can almost solidify the border with Gowed so that they and Riveria are ideally situated to consolidate when they choose to flip that switch. Silverforge is in an interesting spot. Still plenty of growth here, but they're kind of on top of Wex. Looks like there's no conflicting claims yet, and if Wex is looking to play Emperor and maintain as many princes as possible, Silverforge is one he'll want to keep strong. Vern's in an interesting spot. No player allies shown yet. They can expand outside the Empire and obviously go colonial as well if they choose. But there may be some conflict with some of the folks over on this coast, if you will. And then Torinin, there's plenty of room to grow into down here, but looks like Cavuria is moving to cut them off. So who knows which way they'll choose to expand. And then Cavuria, obviously, pretty strong tag, looks to move into Eskin as well as into the swamps here. And then I think the thing to keep an eye on for next session in this region, would I be wrong to say? I don't expect any player wars here next session. I think there may be some conflict with the division of Laurent, but doesn't look too bad as of right now. And then there may be some contest over some of the Dame's Head centers of trade, but yeah, as of right now, I'd say there's still another session of growth for all the players in this area. But it'll be an interesting one to watch for sure.